And if I can have just a few of you, please answer, it would be great. Okay. Uh, what is BIM for you? And the question is, what is BIM as in, is BIM a software? Is BIM a workflow? Is it both? Is it a scam? I don't know. Can I have at least 3 or 4 people tell me for them? If it's something else other than what I said, please go ahead. What is BIM? Can I have 3 or 4 of you answer this? Is it Revit? Hello? Anyone? Every answer is right. But it will look better from my presentation if I get like some answers and, then I go and say what it really is. So come on, no participation.
Yeah. No, please participate, and it will
Joanne,
be
what do you
much
think?
more
Joanne,
interesting.
what is BIM to you?
BIM to me is an extremely handy tool that I wish I had that 20 years ago,
So
because
for
at
you,
that
it's a tool. For
it's
you,
a
it's a
tool
tool.
for me. It's an absolutely handy tool
Okay.
because it
Well, look,
addresses one of my biggest headaches.
the professor is kind of wrong. Come on, people. What is BIM? It's a
Is it not
constant
a
mistake.
software?
It's a software. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
we
think it's
have
a soft.
a tool, a software. Anything else? Okay, well, so far everybody's still wrong. Okay, there's a little bit of truth, but the thing is that you're wrong because you have been sold by false advertisement of people that offer BIM, and it's not truly what BIM is. BIM is simply a workflow. That's it. BIM is a workflow that it originates by Autodesk at one point. Well, it originates many years back by somebody else, but the interoperability when it gets pushed into the construction sector is by Autodesk. And they all decide to, okay, let's start using a common file so everybody can communicate with this common file. And stuff's interchangeable. And then the stuff you do inside your program when you design and you draw is separate from sharing it. Like this, I can design with one software, do my electrical with another, then I can do my energy efficiency with this one that I have that I know is better, and you're able to mix and match and it's interoperability. But what happened? They noticed that that was going to be the end of them if they did that, if it was a full open BIM. So all of a sudden they started with BIM, BIM 360, etc. We offer something called Open BIM. It's pretty much the same workflow, but now we start saying BIM, Open BIM. What are the differences? Well, Open BIM is referring to what it should originally be, and the open part is using the IFC file or common interchangeable files as if you were using a PDF or files of this sort that are not owned. There's no ownership, so they're open, and only the person that has designed it or shared that file can make changes. But to access the file, it's fully open. So that's what it is. BIM, that's what it is. BIM is a workflow, and it's a workflow that stems from the most common interchangeable file in the IFC sector, sorry, in the AEC sector, which is the IFC file. Okay. Industrial Federated Classes. That's what it stands for. So the IFC file, they start creating a class for everything like IFC door, IFC rebar, IFC concrete, everything. And every single one of those IFC files now is recognized and it becomes a digital workflow. Okay. And that's what BIM is. Now I'm going to explain to you BIM, you get confused a lot because you start with the companies offering things like a certain type of BIM tool, or whatever. But in reality, a true BIM software should be a software that you should be able to design and generate, or design and analyze and generate results in a common file, not in an RVT file, not on an Arch file, on an IFC file or this sort of common files. So that then this can be picked up by another software. And imagine if you've designed a very complex building. Why does the structural engineer have to redraw that building for the structural analysis? No, he can just get this information and import the geometry. Now, in there, certain things happen, such as energy analysis that you could do as an architect, or many other things that I'm going to show you now. And all this information at any point of the project can be transferred to be used to be able to not have to re-enter information, and you start working digitally. And that's what it is. We eventually do what we call smart cities, and eventually in a few years the government is controlling everybody via robots. Okay, that's the idea. So BIM is the the workflow that is needed to link into smart cities. It could be digital twin. There's a lot of these type of words, but that's what BIM is. It's a open workflow to enter digital market. Okay. Now, SIPE works with OpenBIM. Okay. OpenBIM is pretty much the same thing as it's actually what BIM originally was supposed to be. Okay. But as I said, it doesn't end up being that. So now we create a workflow, or not us, it just is created by IFC Files, which is a group called Building Smart, called OpenBIM. And OpenBIM is actually the workflow that we are looking for when we enter into the digital work, when we want to work with free tools. Okay. If you work with other tools, I don't want to mention names or whatever, you might be spending a lot of money for certain things that are really not needed. When the workflow itself, which is a workflow to interchange files, should be free. And I'm going to show you a CDE platform that we have developed, which you will be able to do this completely free in your professional life with these tools. And not just that, we have tools that you'll be able to use, and I'm going to show you today for siting projects, for doing architectural models, and also for doing installations as well. Then we'll see with Professor what exactly we will continue on in the other courses and get deep dive into it. But I'm going to show you a very, very good overview. Now, the first question, everybody can see my PowerPoint, right? That says why adopt any OpenBIM software.
Yes, we can see the red screen.
Okay, so perfect. There's going to be three reasons. It's either environmental issues, remove paper, not work with paper, etc. No, we have to be good for the environment. It's understandable. Government regulations, that's probably what's going to get everybody going. In many countries, like in Europe in 2025, you got to present projects in BIM, and each time more and more the government's going to require for you to create to present projects in BIM models as well. Okay, not just paper, but also a BIM model. And last, and what should be actually most important to you, is savings and your actual wellness, health and wellness. So let's look at environmental. Okay, the environment problems are pretty basic. It's still a very paper-based sector. The National Institute of Standards and Technology in the United States did a study in 2010. I might be off a little bit by the dates. And just the US market, if it would have digitalized at that time, we would have saved in the billions. That's just the United States. Okay. And let's not even talk about mistakes in planning for not being able to visualize and properly view information, leading to waste or CO2 emissions. You have no idea, I'm sure you know how expensive it is to take down structures, or how much waste you can generate, or CO2 emissions from a structure that's improperly designed. In 2025, just as well as all structures, all projects in Malaysia and many parts of Asia will have to be able to present carbon CO2 emissions being released by their projects to be able to get approved. And then the next one, and the one that should be the most important, is that when you digitalize and when you use OpenBIM, you're able to pre-visualize at many points your project and fully take advantage of everything that Mother Nature has to offer you, for you to use solar panels, for you to avoid as much direct sunlight in certain areas if needed. I'll show you how this is done by creating BIM projects, by creating a digital project, because it's not just a 3D model, it's a 3D model with information. Now, the next one is government. And like I said, this is what's going to get everybody going because nobody's willing to do anything until you get fined by the government or you're not able to work. So, very soon, it's going to be mandatory in many parts. And a lot of you working in South Africa or studying in South Africa are going to end up going to many parts of Europe because they know that there's a lot of good engineers and quantity surveyors, et cetera, coming out of South Africa. So it's common to go into other countries, and you're going to have to face this and know how to use this because it's going to be the law. It's important to learn a common file, okay, and use the common file, which is the one that's being accepted by governing bodies, such as the IFC file, which is industry foundation classes, as I mentioned, okay. And why does the government want this? Well, like I said, this is the entry point into smart cities and future access to information. They're going to be able to access information in the future and be able to use augmented virtual reality tools and all of that information that's inside the BIM projects. Remember, it's not just the information such as this is a reinforced concrete wall, but in BIM projects, you could also enter life cycle analysis information, like how do you have to maintain this building, for example, the paint, every how long it should be repainted, or a glazing, every how long it should be, etc. All that information can be added in a BIM model, okay? And it can be controlled by government, it could be controlled by a project management company, etc. And then the one that should be most important to you guys and to people in general is the savings and the time. Okay, you save money and time in work when you work in BIM or in open BIM solutions. You help the environment, you comply with laws, and lastly, and something we saw during the pandemic, and Steve, even up to date now, you have the ability to work remotely at any time, anywhere, giving yourself more time to do whatever you want to do in your life, whether that's spending time with your family, friends, hobbies, etc. So those are the three reasons you're going to get going with that. Now, SIPE and BIM Server Center offers a solution which is OpenBIM. And why? Because this solution of OpenBIM, which is what it originally was designed, and you see this logo when you go into our website, okay, it in a lot of other BIM solutions, one of the downfall was that it was either the whole project or nothing of the project. They had to be controlled by a BIM manager, et cetera. And that's not the point. This here now, if you want to have a BIM project with the CDE platform that I'm going to show you, that it's pretty much only a set of drawings and an imported PDF file with a budget, that could be it. It's obviously not worth it. It's not very good because you're not taking advantage of the digital things or the digital tools that we have there free for you to offer. But it's possible. So that's why this logo, because it shows you that it can be with as much or as little information as you like. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. We have tools that are completely free, like I mentioned, because the CDE platform, which is where you're going to be able to get the workflow going, okay, and that's what BIM is completely free. Access to it is free. And also storing BIM projects, because having a BIM project, you have access to it on a cloud. This is a cloud platform, so everything you load in there, you have unlimited loading, unlimited access, everything completely free. But we also have a tool because one of the entry points into a BIM project is creating a BIM model. That BIM model can be of a highway, it could be of a park, anything, or it could be of a building. Now, if you load a 2D drawing, it's really worthless. But if you load that 2D drawing into a program that I have here called Site Architecture, that we can organize a deep dive demo of this, then you create a BIM model. And now that model that you create, it creates files that can be loaded into this workflow. And in these files, there's information of each and every element, such as tables, such as chair, the size, the height, the materials, etc. Okay. And this information, let's say that you want to just view it on 3D, you can do it. But if you need to generate plans, you are also able to do it, because we also understand that we have to offer a type of hybrid solution, because The sector is it's very broken at many parts that it's impossible to fully digitalize. So if it's needed to generate a plan, you can also generate a plan, but you can also load this product into this design into a cloud platform. Now, you do a lot more in BIM than not just the, little eye candy things that it's just to visualize. You can actually design your whole structural elements, and you can actually size based on South African codes or Euro codes or whichever you need, all of the rebar of your structure, of any reinforced concrete structure. You can even take into account seismic and wind loads of that structure placed anywhere in South Africa as well. Okay. And this information can be shared as well for you to be able to import it into the cloud. And if you've designed the architectural model originally with a program that generates an IFC file, not just our software, I'll show you, you can go into our platform from other software such as Revit and et cetera, and I'm showing you, but if you come in from any sort of 3D modeling tool, now, well, actually 3D BIM modeling tool, now we're able to import that geometry for you to just enter the loads and other information. And most of the geometry itself is automatically imported for you. So you don't need to be preloading this whole entire building if you have already done the architectural model in a BIM modeling tool, okay? Now, in the software, also, you're able to design not just general stuff for your structure, but you could get into details. You're also able to use software, and this software is also free, and this software goes very well with the architectural programs. For once that you have designed a structure or an architectural model or an architectural BIM model, let's say, now you're able to enter construction elements to that structure, and you're able to do an energy simulation and analyze how much energy consumption you're going to do or you're going to consume. Okay. You could calculate the entire energy demand for that for the entire year. Okay. For any part of the world, it has actually this program loaded, the Energy Plus engine, that it has pretty much any part of the world for you to do this energy calculation. Then you can also, once you've figure out the how much energy demand you have, you can design your electrical installations, and you can also install photovoltaic installations as well. And since you have designed the energy consumption needs, the program will automatically read those needs and design based on those needs. It's not just like click and that's it. You gotta obviously have some knowledge to preset the program properly, but it will recognize the energy consumption. Okay. For HVAC, the same thing. You're going to predetermine your thermal load consumption, how much your heating and cooling needs are for your structures. And when you design your HVAC, as you design it, it will be based on those needs that it is recognizing from the area because you have pre-designed that area with a BIM solution. And I could go on and on with the rest of the installation, but I think you understand it, and fire, pretty much the same thing. Now, the last one, and one of the things that I also think are very, very useful for you, is that you can do a lot of project management things with this as well. At any point of the structure, it could be the project management part at the structural end, or only at the plumbing, only for HVAC, or for the entire project, okay? You could do two things. You could design all your health and safety, but then the other thing is that you can create or load a cost database, and you can generate a BOQ quite easily with the software. Now, if you're working with a BIM model, guess what? All of the geometry and all of the measurements are automatically imported, not just the amounts, but also areas, and it could recognize measurement for the entire area. But again, if you're working from a 2CAD drawing, you are also able to import that drawing and measure and link it to the cost database, which I will show you as well. Okay. Now, as I said, how does this happen? Well, Site develops the tools that can design and can analyze whenever possible. And once they do that, either one or both, they create a file. It's a BIM file because it's a common exchange file. We're creating an IFC file. And you are able to share this file in BIM Server Center. In all of our tools, there is a button for you to link to BIM Server Center. If you're working from another tool, there won't be a button, but there will be a way for you to do it as well, and I will explain, okay? Now, what is BIM Server Center? Again, this is what creates BIM and what creates the workflow. This is a CDE platform, okay? And it is specially developed for BIM projects for the AEC sector, okay? It's cloud-based information center that it allows connection between programs, and it allows you to upload or download information. And then all the information that's uploaded is able to be visualized with other software or with some tools that we offer here free, like augmented or virtual reality tools, okay? As well as being able to be visualized in the cloud inside the BIM Server Center app itself. So you can literally have a program loaded in this platform of, let's say, a plumbing model of a 10-story building, and just go in there with that plumbing model, if that 10-story building's already up, and enter the augmented reality tool, and you can visualize what your plumbing design will be once you have it properly scaled. And this way you could see if there's any issues with the locations, etc. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this, okay? Now, as I said, the project can be done of many parts, just one part, but pretty much a BIM project can be everything, including, believe it or not, even appliances, okay? So when you design, or even the toilet, the sinks, when you are working in a BIM project and it is recognizes the consumption of that element, okay, it will require a pipe with X consumption, and if not, it will tell you it's wrong because it is recognizing by the BIM model the consumption of that appliance or that particular part of the toilet or kitchen, okay? So now the way that this works is that every file is a separate file. They are all federated files, and some of the things that people think about when they work with these workflow is that, oh, they're going to steal my information. No, that is impossible. The file, it starts from whoever creates the project is the one that controls the project itself. But now, if I am an architect and I give the plumber my architectural model and I tell him, okay, design the plumbing for this project, he designs it based on my digital model, my BIM model, okay? But it's actually my architectural BIM model, because that's where you got to start from some geometry, okay? And he gives me a design. The design that he gives me is controlled by him. All I can do is view it. I can't make any changes. And now, if I have 3 or 4 people quoting me different options in plumbing, at one point they can all send me those options and I'll visualize and choose which one I like best, and then I will lock it into my project. But they are all loose, federated models. So, like I said, a BIM project in BIM Server Center or in any true BIM tool has to be open to as much or as little information as you'd want to do it. And that's what we offer, okay? As you see, you're working with federated models, so it's impossible for anybody to take any of this information from you. Now, some people think, will I need to change the way I work or use whatever? No. If you're working right now with other tools, there's no need to change, okay? There's multiple workflows that are very versatile with other solutions that you're able to import everything from a PDF file, JPG file. There's many things you're able to import and have that as a starting point, even just like a Google Earth picture, etc. Okay. Now, people wonder if to work with BIM Server Center, you need to buy anything. No, nothing needs to be bought. Some people wonder why. Well, this was a project that we brought forward after an investigative study with the European community. And one of the things was that this was going to be a fully free platform to actually take advantage of what BIM is supposed to be. And that's what we have done. There's no need to purchase software or anything to use the workflow, okay? Will I be linked to a special modeler? A lot of people wonder because let's face it, most of you are probably looking at site now, and even though we have over 150,000 users worldwide, well, that's crap compared, sorry, excuse the language, but compared to Revit, Graphisoft, Allplan, they're obviously massive companies. So if you're working with any of these programs, you're also able to generate a file. With Revit in particular, it's a direct plugin from Revit into BIM Server Center, and it's free, and you're able to share Revit models, the geometry with Graphisoft, Allplan, etc. If you want to use a free tool, we also have one that you're able to use, and I'll show you today. It's very simple and quite intuitive to use. Now, these are some of the people that some of the worldwide companies that use our workflow. Okay, and just wanted to share it with you so that you see. And we also develop tools. We develop open BIM tools for a lot of these companies around the world that they need open BIM solutions. So we develop for them their open BIM solution part of their software of their programs. Mostly here, we're talking about MEP tools that we're developing for these companies. So with the tools that we're going to show you during our training, all the tools of SIPE, you're always going to be able to generate a 3D model, okay? You're going to be able to generate technical reports. Now, these reports you can print paper, which is not the ideal thing to do, but if needed, you're always able to do it. Or you're able to share this information in cloud in a PDF file, and you're able to access it or share with government institutions as well in a digital format. You're also going to be able to see a lot of visualization tools in our software for you to be able to make the right decision. And you're also going to be able to generate plans, as we understand that plans are still necessary. So you would be able to generate plans, customize drawings, and these drawings, you could have them available in the cloud, or you could send them to print, okay? It's also possible, and it's free with our software. And then lastly, you're also going to be able to generate a BOQ, okay? Just wanted to mention one project that it was done with our software. I don't know if you've ever heard of this project, Johan. This is the tallest residential building in all Europe. It's at over 650 feet tall, and it's actually just like 20 minutes away from our headquarters in a city called Benidorm. I was in a conference in Lithuania, and I had some guy tell me, "Oh no, but in England, that in the UK, there's a build." I mean, I just told them, "Look at my slide. It's the tallest residential building in Europe." As we know that I think that the UK did something called Brexit and is no longer part of Europe. You know, this is great for us because we're able to say it's the tallest building in all Europe. There's nothing else other than the ones in the UK. Okay, but it's a building called In Tempo, if any of you look it up in Benidorm. And the whole building was designed, analyzed by one of our owners. Okay. So, you know, it's just a really interesting project. Okay. So, how I always like to give people the idea of BIM Server Center of what I'm going to show you and for you to get a good idea and a good grasp of what we offer, okay, of being an open tool, of etc., is, believe it or not, this here, okay? I don't know if any of you ever watched Power Rangers, okay, but this was a series that, you know, my kids used to watch it when they were younger. I think they were also around at other times, you know, but this here was a series that during the episodes there were separate superheroes. But at the end of the episode, they would all gather and become like a special superhero that could do everything that they needed. Well, that's what you could do with BIM Server Center. It could be a customized tool for whatever exactly you're doing, whether that's structural design, architecture, project management, only designing the BOQ, etc. Okay, and I'm going to show you how that's going to happen. Okay, so now the first thing that I'm going to do, let me just confirm that everybody's still seeing my screen, I presume, right? Because I saw that there was some sort of change there happening. Yes? Yes,
Yes,
I
we see
think you
your
can.
screen. You took your
Okay.
screen down and now you
Yeah, now I have my this
my,
part here.
my
Okay,
home
just
screen up. Yeah.
all right. So, anyways, let's say that the first thing I'm going to show you is what the CDE platform is and how to start a BIM project. Okay, you could see here on the right of my screen, there's a bunch of different loose tools. These are different BIM. These are different SIPE tools that I have downloaded and that I use, okay? And that I could create an IFC file from different of these tools, or I can upload IFC files from other tools, okay? But here, the software is where I actually draw and I design, and then the software will give me the opportunity to share actually a file in a BIM Server Center or not, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, and the first thing I'm gonna show you is BIM Server Center, which is gonna be this free tool that I've been raving about, okay? So here in BIM Server Center is going to be quite simple. I said for you guys to sign up. If you didn't, it's 3 seconds. You could do this now, or you're not. You can watch the presentation video or not. But I'm going to just show you very quickly what is the idea here behind BIM Server Center and what are the advantages that you could do. In BIM Server Center, you have a couple of things here that are interesting. Now, in your own particular part of the program, you're going to have 3 tabs, which is my projects, my contributions, or shared projects. So this is everything that you start from scratch. This is anything that you collaborate in, and this is anything that people just share for you to be a participant in, even though you haven't actually created a collaboration, like you haven't created a file for it, okay? Now up here, you will see there's these squares, and there's a couple of very interesting things for you to know here. First of all, the store is where you have the software. This is where you download the software, even though I sent you a file with a few of them. But if there's other things that you want to look into, you would be able to access any of them as an academic version or educational version, okay? After that, though, once you download the ones I tell you, this part of educational or corporate, this, if you have a company, it's also free, and educational is only for schools and universities for internal things, so don't even get into this, okay? Now, here is where you have applications in case you want to download well, information on the applications, because if you want to download the augmented reality app, it's pretty much in the Google Play Store or whatever store you have, okay? Statistics, maps, this is quite interesting. So you see all the projects in many parts the world that are being done were actually shared via this CDE platform, okay? And then you're also going to be able to see some statistics, some rankings, and some featured. And this part of the featured is really nice because you're able to have an idea of some of the tools that there are professionals sharing in this program, okay? And there's all sorts of projects that are being shared, okay, in here. Some can be the rebar detailing, some could be the entire project, you know. And these projects that you're seeing here could have been designed with our tools. You see, this is only the safety model, or they could have been partially designed with our tools. Okay, you see there's also even plans that you can load in here. This is only a plumbing model. So there's a lot of different options, but here you could get a little bit of an idea, okay? And then a last thing here that you can do is you can check the rankings, okay? And you could see in each country, okay, like for example, in the States, okay, these are the people, like I have a guy here that's done 300 and something jobs, 104. These are certain customers of ours. Oh, look, this is yours truly over here. And these are customers or people, not customers, because these people are just using the workflow completely free in the United States. You could take a look at every country and see this is based on everything, okay? Let's see another country so you see an idea, okay? You obviously have South Africa here, but I think it would be funner if I just leave South Africa for you guys to go in there and search to see who's the one that has the most things in South Africa. This, for example, is in Brazil. So you're able to check these analytics. Okay, but forget about that. That's probably not very interesting. Let's look at the important stuff of having a BIM modeler here. Okay, so what happens in here? Okay, I have the projects that I have shared that I've designed with some of the tools that I'm going to show you now. In a few minutes, I'll start showing you some of those tools. Anything that I designed in there is going to be here. Any projects that I've started, etc. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and show you. And now this will be the same thing I'd be able to access from a cloud. Okay, so from any cloud platform, I will be able to enter and access and view any of these projects. As you see, some of them I have an entire structure here of a short span bridge. Here I have a culvert house. I have steel structural elements. I have mixed warehouses, but I also have, for example, just complex connections that I designed. I can have also here a project that is a truss roof. There's no limit in this, is pretty much the idea. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and just show you, give you an idea like this project that we did at one point called South African Experience. And here we have the dashboard, okay, South Africa's BIM experience that we did at one point. And here we have a activity, information, etc. So I can go and obviously in here I have the visualizer where I'm able to view the whole entire model. I could see everything in one shot here, or the viewer allows me to pick and choose certain models. You see, I can have everything visible, or I could just ask for the architectural model, press accept, and that's it. Okay, and I only see the architectural model. Okay, just here so that you see like a quick example of this. Okay, but now obviously there's more things that you're able to do with this. It's not just about visualizing this whole this model. Okay, because there's obviously a lot more things that you might want to be able to visualize. Okay, in here you have the dashboard where you're able to just go in there, view the model, and see everything one on top of the other. Then you have a notification dashboard, okay? In the notification dashboard is where you can visually create issues that need to be resolved, or automatically you would create issues via clash detection software that we also offer. In the contributions tab, you would have all of the different files. You see they are all loose, separate, federated files that make up this project, from just the architectural stairs and ramps, the carpentry. The great thing is that once that you have the architectural BIM model like this shared with your team, now everybody can start designing based on that geometry. Let's say we have 3 or 4 different designs for windows, or for both the doors and windows. Once I decided which one I want, I lock that one in place, and that's it. Okay, and I have all this information that I'm able to view it from any viewer around the world. I just can go into any platform and I can see all this information. Okay, I could go into wherever it is. Okay, so you have all of these different files that are here inside this cloud for you to visualize separate as well. And then here you have your work team. Okay, and in your work team, it's very simple to use it. This is the work team that exists right now. Okay, and I'm able to just go in here and look for people. Okay, I don't, obviously Johan's not here, but if you're registered in BIM Server Center, I will be able to search for you, and I would be able to easily invite you, or I can copy the link and send you an invitation as well. Okay, it's very, very simple. And then the last dashboard, and probably as anybody involved in the construction sector, I was a general contractor for over 15 years in the United States, and you have no idea how many years of traffic I have under my belt. Well, some of you probably do, since you're in if you're in South Africa. So the great thing is that one of the things I always needed to do is keep information, make sure that everything was registered. And this was always doing this automatically for you. So any information that you share via this platform is automatically going to be registered. So I can, for example, say, okay, I have an issue right now with the architectural model, and I could just put architectural, let's see, windows are need more windows need to be placed 3 cm from the edge. Okay, and now I can say, okay, so who do I have? Do I have the architect change the entire building, or I just tell the carpenter? That's it. I inform the carpenter. Here I give him a little bit more information. Please, I don't need to say tell him, please place the windows. Let's say it's on the last floor, 3 cm from the edge, and I could give him all sorts of instructions here, okay? Now, let's say that I have to show him because I want to give him a little picture of this and tell him what exactly I want him to be looking at, okay? So I could just tell him, okay, I have this file here and I load it, and I would get, this information will be directly informed to them. And you will see this issue is created automatically, okay? Give me a second as it's loading. I've used this as an example in many places, so it has a lot of issues. And I'll explain to you now what are requirements, okay? So, okay, windows need to be replaced. There you see, I have here this requirement. And now once that it's taken care of or not, okay, this is the person that requests the contribution and the information of that. Okay, now what is the requirement? Requirement is what I mentioned. If you install a fixtures in your bathroom or in your kitchen, or you add appliances, because in BIM projects you can also have appliances and fixtures, etc. They are going to recognize a consumption required. So that is going to ask for a particular type of pipe or a particular amount of consumption when it comes to your design. Okay. So that's the part of the notification, that's the part of the contribution, and then in the part of the dashboard, okay, here you will see now I've loaded several other files, okay, into this the one of the project that I was showing you, and you were able to lay all of these one over the other. You're able to, for example, in this project, we decided to add a parking structure as well at one point, okay? So pretty much anything in the project can pretty much be added, okay? Well, it's not only information such as models for visualization, but also paper, okay, to be able to access files. So you see, this is the same building, but in this model, I only have an architectural model. I have the thermal loads design, and I have the bill of quantities. So you see, I'm able to design my bill of quantities and then create a BOQ summary, cost breakdown, detailed price, all three of these, and just share these in a cloud for me to be able to visualize anywhere and print if I so need, or present to an administrative governing body what I'm doing. Okay, there's a lot of different options that you're able to do with this, and it's not just documents, it's not just visualization of a structure, a 3D model, it's also all the information that is within. Okay, and now I'm going to show you, when it comes to the visualizer, you have some very handy tools that are going to be excellent for you to determine the location of your project. And you will see here in this model that I have shared, okay, you will see what is the part of BIM, the I in BIM, and that is the information inside the model. Now, a BIM or a building model doesn't have information of each and every part of this project, okay? And that is the big difference with these models that I'm showing you now here. So you have a section that says that I for information, and if I come here anywhere, it's going to tell us what it is. Let's say this here, for example, is a railing, the height of the railing, type of category, the spacing, the handrail dimension. There's a lot of different things that it's able to see. Now, it also gives me the opportunity to remove areas, so I can go here and say, okay, remove this project. I've already taken that into account. Let's see the next one. Okay, I've already got this one. Or I could just say, okay, remove everything and just leave this for me to just visualize this particular information that I have, okay? Or this particular model, okay? It gives you, you see here, it says isolate an element, hide an element, or show all of the hidden elements, okay? Now, another very interesting thing for this modeler, obviously, you have information of all of the different parts of the project, including, let's say, the louvered walls. These are external windows. It tells you, you see, every single information is here. And also, it's able to set your shadows of the building. Okay, so based on the position, I have a way of locating the project. You can actually locate it here, or if not, we would show you a way for you to obtain the location of it. Okay, this one is already placed, and I can activate shadows, and I can show the position of the sun as well. Okay, so this is based at 12 a.m. on the 21st of August. It always goes automatically on the day we're at today, okay? And you will see, based on the sun position, this is the type of shading that I'm going to expect. Now I can easily change this, okay, by obviously changing the time. Say I could just change it to 9 in the morning, press accept. Okay. I think you got the idea here. You could put here later in the afternoon. You're also able to have the program, you can check all of the different, hold on. I suggest that when you go here into BIM Server Center, because we have, this here for you to know how to rotate the camera, like what I'm doing to rotate this, you can change it. It's either Shift key plus middle mouse or Shift key left mouse. You can switch it to that. Also, if you have any questions regarding this, for example, okay, you can see you rotate, hold down, move, hold the middle button, so it gives you different things for you to have an idea. And the part of shadows, if you hold down the Alt key and drag, was pressing down the mouse, okay? So in this, you will see that if I do that, I can automatically move the sun in one shot and check the shadows. Okay, let me show you this model, for example. We have a section where they share models with us as well, okay, and you're able to access. I actually have not contributed in any of these, but these are shared models for me, and you can see there's like some really nice models here, but there's this one building that I wanted to show you that I think it's quite interesting for you to view it. Actually, sorry. I did contribute in this project, so my mistake. All right, and let me just show you one last thing with this, and then I'm going to go ahead and open up the first tool for you guys to see, okay? You will see that it's not only just random stuff that I'm looking at that has no value actually in a project, but if you're designing this project, okay, and you are working on a culvert in the middle of nowhere, well, hopefully you have access to internet at least at some point. You can enter and just check, the exact steel that you need to be using. Make sure you're using the right thing. You see, I imported the entire the entire rebar model. I know this is a number 10. I know this is a number 16, and I'm able to not just import visual stuff that might have less use, but also I could get information here that at any point is going to be very useful to me. Okay. When you import in this platform, you also enter this walk option, and you're able to walk into the project itself and then visualize all the elements that are inside the building, okay, when it comes to architectural design, okay? Let me show you in this project. And it's a matter of just going into the whole, in any of them, when you're in the visualizer, you just enter the part where you see the steps, okay, that it says walk. You determine the height where you're going to walk into in the building, okay. And I also like to turn on the part of information so I can visualize the information. Okay, so now I'm going to be at this level. Okay, so let's come on in. Okay. Well, here we are in this room, and now inside this room, I'm able to, again, any information, for example, here, you see this is a door, the height or whatever, okay, this is a television. So again, this is the great usefulness, and all this that I'm showing you is in a cloud, okay? So now, how do I start a project? I'm gonna go ahead and start a project from scratch with you guys, and then we're gonna share a couple of models into it, okay? So that you see, let's see how much time we would have into it. So it will be as simple as you create a project, you create a file, sorry, you create an account, and then you go into the part of projects and you select, hey, imagine, new project. Do you think that's the button? Yes, that is the button. Okay, so we go ahead and this is important, the name that you're gonna have, so I'm gonna put Nelson Mandela. It's already given me a recommendation because I had used this before, okay? And I could go ahead and choose it and, no. Okay, now the description, okay? Just gonna put a trial project. Now, this is a part, some people start wondering, what should I select here? Now, when you're working, just choose educational version. It's probably going to be the best, for you to have access to everything, or you could choose professional. It really doesn't matter. You're going to be able to store information here just as well. It's for whatever use you want. Now, this next section is important. This is where you're going to be able to have, because I had a lot of people that you saw many projects that were there shared, but the part of the sharing is it's not up to us. It's up to you. So you're able to have the projects open to for everybody to visualize, or not visible, fully closed. That's up to you. I'm going to leave it open because I'm going to share the project. Okay. Collaboration requests as well. I can have people reach out to me and say, hey, can I collaborate in this project or not? Again, this is fully open to you, and there's no change in price. It's what you like. Okay. Next, you can see if you would like to review new contributions or you want to review updated contributions, okay? So any contribution to the project, if I say that I want to review it, nobody will be able to load anything or update anything without me saying that it's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say that. So now I press accept, and you see there's already a project here started called Nelson Mandela University Sample, whatever. But where do we start? How do we start? Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into this platform that the wonderful government of South Africa created for you guys, which is some sort of portal. I think it's this platform, I imagine, Joanne, for the GIS location. I'm sure some of you might have seen it. If not,
Okay,
I'll
it's
share
still
it with
busy
you guys.
opening here. Let me see what you've got here. It's busy opening still.
Yes. So let's say, for example, we are able to do different things with this. Let me put Nelson Mandela University. Nelson Mandela University. Okay. So this is a platform like we have in Spain as well. We have a cataster for the properties. Okay, so here, this, for example, is the area of your school, more or less. Okay, and in this platform, we're able to go ahead and pretty much visualize any part of the country. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put imagery with labels on it, just for a goof. Okay. I will go here into this North Campus, and let's say that I don't know. I'm looking to create a little project somewhere in here in this open space. that there is in the campus. Okay. Now you see it's giving me here the location, the degree, everything here on the bottom left, okay, of the exact location with longitude, latitude, which I could enter manually. And then here I have also the scale, the scalability of this. I'm going to put it a little bit less so it's not such a massive. Okay, let's put it at 300 feet, for example. Okay, you guys are using feet over there? I thought you'd be using meters. Okay, let's put it here.
We're actually using meters, not feet.
Well, for some reason, your governing body here is putting feet,
There
but
might be a button
there,
somewhere on it.
yeah, there must be a way to
Metric.
change it. Okay, but we'll go ahead and let me see a measurement. Or whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll leave it in this way. So now let's say I can use different things for me to map a project and start from OpenBIM site, but I can simply, for example, take a snap picture of this image here, okay? For example, okay? I don't like that I put that part of the show results, but let's go ahead and just re-snap it one time a little bit smaller here. Okay, and I have there the part which, no, I need to get that section at least included. So the program that I'm going to show you now in a second is a program for you to enter your topography and your geotechnical information of your project, okay? And you can create a project starting from there, okay? So I go ahead and I'm just going to create pretty much a file, okay? And I'm going to just have a PNG file saved on my desktop of this. So now I'm going to go ahead and open up one of our software. I had shared with you a few programs, okay? Let me show you the ones that I had shared. It was some. It had to be the last one, of course. So we have here pretty much these four models that we shared in the last training. I think that this one is not in this one, okay, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and start from this one in particular, which is OpenBIM Site, okay? And OpenBIM Site, this is an application for you to site the initial project location. Now with this, it's great in a BIM tool because you're also able to define other geographical information as well, and you're going to be able to use that and take that into account when designing your project, okay? So once I've downloaded software in my, from BIM Server Center, I'm going to have it right here available on my desktop. So I will go into this program, Open BIM Sites, as you see, okay? And it's a matter of just once you register, download it, you're going to have it directly here on your desktop, the same way that I have this other software here. And it gives us the ability to start from a new project. We can go into the part of File Manager and view some examples. And also it gives us the ability to look at documentation if we have a user's manual, etc. This project is really not needed, in my opinion, a user's manual. It's very simple with a couple of videos that you're able to view, okay? So we'll go ahead and just call this file Nelson Mandela University 1, press accept, and now this is where I can import that particular part of the project that I previously, sorry, I can import that drawing, okay? And there's a couple of ways that I would be able to import that drawing, but for now, I could have preloaded it into BIM Server Center and loaded it from there, or I can load it directly here in the software, okay? I'm gonna show you how that happens. Now, the first thing you gotta do, this is the interface of a OpenBIM site. This is a very common interface in almost all of our modelers. You have the top ribbon with the file information, again, being able to look at this examples, and then you start from project, the site components, the topographical surface, and then an edit bar. On the top, these are always the most common tools that you'll see in ours, which are like the snaps, importing of PDF files, DXF, which I'm going to do that now in a second, entering a grid or not entering a grid, etc. And now you have here also update or share. Okay, now this is where you're able to bring information from BIM Server Center, from the CDE platform, or share information into the BIM server platform. And here it also allows me to go ahead and say, hey, go ahead. The next step is an architectural model. Once I've done this, I will probably want to do an architectural model, and I can also link into there if I want. Okay. So now, how do I set a project from the beginning? It's a matter of coming in here and entering your coordinates, okay, of the project, entering references of the X, the Y, the Z angle, okay, of your project as well, and then just entering the basic information when it comes to the postal address, etc. Okay. Now, I don't have here that longitude, latitude, but it could be also a southern hemisphere, okay, by putting negative. So whatever it is that you put here, it just more or less so that you see, the way that this works. If I would have the catastrophe preloaded, we are in talks with the South African government for that, but that could take a couple of years to get it loaded into here. Okay. Also here you put your northern point. I really am not sure how to work in this part. So here we could just put the address, okay, for example, okay, and press accept, whatever. Okay. So now I just don't have anything here at the current time in this project for me to visualize, and after that, here I have the way to move the reference of the system site, how to put the correct location. Now, once I put in the map, now what I'm going to do is going to import a template, okay, into here. Like we're able to always import templates into all of our software. We're able to import DXF, DWGs, but we're also able to import, like I said, any common file, just as JPEG, JPG, BMP, etc. We can import all of these files. So I go ahead and I bring in that screenshot that I had, okay? So you can see this is the image, but now obviously this is not scaled yet. So how do I scale it? Well, it's very simple. You come into this area that says select the visible area of the template, okay? And in this area, you can do two things. You can change the origin of the coordinates of the template, okay? Like I could go ahead and tell it, okay, the origin of the coordinates are right here, so we know in the same place. And now I can adjust the scale of the template. So you remember I had done here originally this 600, okay? So I could go ahead and tell the program, okay, from here to here, it's a meter, so it's fine. I just go ahead. Feet to meters. We said it was 600. Okay, so let's check it. Here's 600. 182 meters. Okay, so I'm going to tell it here that it's 182 meters that distance. You see how this scale adjusted automatically? I press accept, and nothing here yet. Obviously, always in our programs, you first load the template because I can load many templates. We can load 20 templates in the software, 100 templates, it doesn't matter. So I would have here all ready for me to select them. And you see now, I have loaded this template. Okay. Now, right now it's on a 3D view. Now you see we're always working with 3D files. So I can obviously come in here and just, but if I just want to set it in the right plane for me to work off it, just go here. Okay. And that's it. Okay. All right. So now I have my template that I want to use for the project. Okay. I would be able to enter things regarding the site. I can enter information about the building, okay? Or I can enter information about a location of just buildings around the project, okay? The ground of the project. I could take into account different topography-free surfaces, okay? By just coming here and giving a particular coordinate, we'd have to go and create files. And I'll show you now one that exists. Or if we have a web coverage service that imports automatically the topography, which in this case here we don't, okay? We don't have it designed yet but there's a way to manually enter it, okay? So now once I've already said, okay, this is the site, the topography that I'm going to use, now I go ahead and I share this information. Now it's going to ask me to select the project. Now I'm going to go ahead and select this one, which is Nelson Mandela University sample. I press accept. the name of this file is the site. I could put a description, like I could put, I don't know, image, say, from the South African catastrophe. So I know what image, etc. I press accept. And now I just this is BIM workflow. This is what it is. I just shared information. The information is still here. This is my project. Okay, I'm going to close my project. It's saved as whatever it is. Okay, and that's it. It's here, and I don't have to worry about this project anymore. Now let's take a look at BIM Server Center, and let's see what's happening in BIM Server Center at this present time. We go into the store. Obviously, that's not where we want to look at. We're going to go into my projects. I have Nelson Mandela sample here. Okay, the one that it's again going to be, you would have this in your my projects. And the way that this is connecting and communicating is via an in-sync that we have in the software, that this is installed in the first time that you install the software, and then you don't have to do anything. It just automatically does the updates for you, okay? When you share information, it's gonna just do it by itself, okay? In a few minutes, you'll be able to see it here, what I've loaded. But now already in the dashboard, you will see that there is a contribution in here, and that contribution is a geolocation site. If we go in here, we should already be able to see it. It should already be loaded. There's actually nothing yet. Let's just give it a second. And then we're going to go to the next step of creating something on top of that model, okay? Okay, now we have something in there. And I can either view it by the loose visualizer, or I could also view it in that one visualizer. Yes, it's still waiting to load. Okay, in just a second, we will be able to visualize it. But in the meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and just show you another example of it. And then we'll go ahead and enter a little model in it. So I'm going to show you a project once that you have entered all of the different topography and all of the different design, okay, in the project itself, okay, when it comes to taking into account the whole entire geological area, not just the project. So you're going to have all these examples also available for you. You could go under examples, okay? And you will be able to use these examples in the same way that I've used them when I start from scratch, and you would be able to just share the project, okay? And then use this for you to practice the whole workflow, okay? Every program has software inside it for you to use and for you to actually practice at any point, okay? So here you see that we have another model. As you see, we can break this down also into floors, okay, of each section, or we could see an entire 3D model of this. And here we have a project that we imported from the Spanish catastrophe, and then the buildings that are around, it has information of the height. The buildings that are around the property that you enter, you just give it a general reference of the number of floors, the numbers from the ground floor, and the numbers of below, etc. Okay, the rest of the information is really not needed. So that's what you're seeing in the surrounding buildings. And now in the building that we have actually entered, now here you're able to see exact information, the parcel, etc., the area volume based on the cataster, etc. Okay, so here you're able to see very detailed information on it. And as you can see, the surrounding buildings, the same type of thing. Okay, let me go back to BIM Server Center 1 second to see if this has already been loaded, and then we're going to move on to loading an architectural model or designing an architectural model, and then we will finish it up with generating a BOQ. Okay, so let me go ahead and go starting up SIPE architecture, which is just going to be 1 second, okay? And then let me just go ahead and visualize again this, which should already Okay, perfect. So now here we're in SIPE architecture. And in SIPE architecture, we're going to go ahead and use one of the examples, okay? And in the examples, we're going to go ahead and import a model from this, okay? So we're going to export one of these examples into the model that we've already created. So let's go into the site model that we've already created. And I'm also going to show you how to work a little bit off this modeler itself, okay? So when we're using the examples, it's always a good idea when if you want to mess with one of the examples and make some changes, etc., so that you don't have to reload them the way that I'm doing, and it's just a quicker load. You would be able to just save it once you start, okay, and then just work off that saved model that you've done. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this single family detached house model, okay? And in here, you're going to see that you are going to be able to, you have the model that's already imported, and you just come here and obviously just, we're going to save this file, okay? And that's it, okay? So now we have here a little model that's already been pre-designed with SIPE architecture, and SIPE architecture is our solution for designing for doing pretty much architectural models, okay? But now you will see that these architectural models are become smart elements that have information within it that are able to be taken into account at many other parts of the project. For example, this wall, you see there's a reference, there's the type of facade, there's a height, there's a thickness, etc. When you're going into glazing, you're also the type of glazing, the amount of layers, pretty much everything. When you're looking at structural elements, the same thing, okay? So now in this program, you can see that we work in the following way. We have a sketch tab, an architecture tab, and a furniture tab. We're able to work from directly the architecture tab, or we could start with sketches, and then from those sketch, end up designing something else. So let me give you an idea of how that is. Okay, so we have different views. As you can see here, there's a tab that says views, and you could create different views like a roof view, loft, etc. You can do many different elevation views as well. Okay, or you could just be on your 3D view. But on this particular point, I'm going to go ahead and go into the ground view because I'm going to add some elements in here, okay? So let's go ahead and first of all, yeah, I'd probably be a little bit more comfortable working on the 3D view at this moment. And let me go ahead and maybe add like a little gazebo back here for us, okay? So there's a couple ways that I can do this. I can start by entering architectural elements directly, okay? Or I can start by creating a sketch, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and just enter a couple of architectural elements on here, okay? And I'm gonna start, for example, by a little slab, 4 feet by 4 feet as well. Okay, second. Let me see one thing a second, okay, no. Or I can also just go ahead and enter, for example, a sketch right here, okay? And now from that sketch that I've done, I can convert that to a slab, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and tell the program that I want to select by surface area. And now I've turned that into concrete, okay? Now I can put some horizontal elements as well. Let's see if I can enter a few columns. Okay. Let's first put some beams here. Some beams, and let's put a column here. Another column here. Another column here. Now let's put a couple of beams. Okay. And all right. So anyways, just create there like a little cheesy type of gazebo, okay, that we're gonna put here in the structure. And now I'm gonna put a over here a little play area for the kids. See what we have available. We have a seesaw. Put a couple of seesaws down, trees, etc. So you see, the input of this is quite simple. It's quite an easy program for you to work with, okay? And other than this type of things that I'm showing you, it's quite simple. Now, if there's anything that you've done that you need to erase, it's very easy for you to erase, whether it's in groups or it's whatever, it's just the eraser. You go into whatever type of structure that you did. Now here to erase the sketch part, I have to do the same thing, but with the sketch part. Okay, that's it. Okay, so now let's say that I have already the design of my house. I've decided that this is the one that I want to do. Now I want to go ahead and update for a model. I want to import a model from a BIM Server Center to work along with this particular image here, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and try to pick up this image, okay? And now be able to load this into that project as well, okay? So let's go ahead now and export the architectural model. First, I linked to the project that we were doing before, okay? And now I'm sharing all of this information with the BIM Server Center platform, okay? And as I said, in this BIM Server Center platform is where we are creating that interoperability inside the projects. So now, for some reason, something happened at the beginning on this one, but we'll go ahead and get back into it very quickly, okay? Let me look at this previous file because I haven't had it, I didn't have it show up properly how we was supposed to, okay? But let me go ahead and just go back into my file manager. Okay, right now it's still updating the files. So just give me here 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, let's reload that file. I really don't like to not get these things done properly. So just give me 1 second for me to load this another way. Okay. There's always a couple of options for us to do this. So let me just go ahead and reload again this file that we had done before for the site. Okay, let's go ahead and just very quickly get this distance. said about 181, more or less. Okay. So the problem that happened here before was the update that I had done was wrong, and I had to share this one more time with the project and update this file, and now this. Okay, so I'll be able to also import, if not that file, into here and also be able to cite it in any of the two projects, both the architectural file, or I can also load, if not, the actual file inside this platform. Okay, so now it was already imported. And now, apologize, I'm just going to load this in and we're going to move on to the part of the BOQ, which I know is quite interesting to a lot of you. I just want to show you how we can link with this imagery that we had previously loaded. Let's resize this. Okay, and it was just because of the scaling. I have a lot of experience working with this software, but anyways, there's certain things that, takes a little bit of a process. Okay, so anyways, I was able to finally import this model, okay, together with this little house here, okay, and there's different ways for you to view it. I don't understand why it hasn't loaded yet into this. There was probably some, okay, as you can see, the model itself has loaded into the platform that I shared, okay, because this is the project that we were looking at, okay. And now when I go into this area, we would be able to visualize it. And now instead of visualizing it inside the architectural modeler, so you see the model that I had in here originally, now we have it loaded in BIM Server Center, which is the single family detached house. All right. And you have all of these elements that have been automatically loaded. Now this is a digital model. Now this is in the CDE platform where I'm visualizing it. And over here is in the actual program itself. Okay, you could see that there are obviously some differences of what you're seeing from one to the other. Okay. This is the entire project here in the CDE platform. Now in here, you pretty much have the same information as you did on the other one. You have the ability to use the shading, and you obviously have all this information here that you're also able to get, okay? So now let's say that now I have already designed this project, the site location, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, something's happened and I have to figure out why it hasn't been imported, but I don't want to waste any more time in it, but it's a mistake, I'm sure, on my part, okay? But I should have the site right now loaded here as well, okay? But now I want to go ahead and do a digital database. I want to go ahead and do a digital bill of quantities of this project, okay? And I want to go ahead and open up this project now in another modeler that I have and be able to add a BOQ. Okay, so that would also be able to be done. And the great thing is that since this is a BIM model, all this information that is in here, quantity-wise, okay, you are going to be able to access all of that information, and you are going to be able to extract quantities as many times as you need for you to be able to calculate and analyze the amount of quantities that you need for the project, okay? So let's go ahead and show you how that is done. So we have the program, we have the model loaded as a project called Nelson Mandela University Sample, okay, in our cloud. I'm going to go ahead and close both of these softwares down. And I'm going to go ahead and open up a program that we have called Open BIM Quantities, that you can generate a bill of quantities by creating a cost database, entering a cost database from an Excel spreadsheet, and then afterwards entering certain set of measurement rules for you to digitally measure your project or manually measure your project. Okay, both possibilities can be done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you now. Okay, so open BIM quantities, the same thing as when you open, you have this workflow file, recent files, and then you have, if there's a user's manual, like in this software, you have access to the user's manual over here, okay? So let's go ahead and start from a new project. At least a new project for the program itself, but we're actually gonna link to a BIM project, and we're gonna press here, select BIM project. And we're gonna go ahead and press this example. Now you will see that the program will be able to import this information, okay? And it's gonna ask me a couple of questions when it's synchronizing to the model itself, okay? I had one of these here previously done. And I'm gonna go ahead and open this one. We have about 30 minutes, so I think I'll be here just for about 20 minutes, and then maybe we can have some questions for some answers for any questions that you might have. Okay, so we went ahead and opened up this program, and I imported the model of the single family house. Okay, so you will see that in this program we have the model on this side here, okay? On the top, we have quantities of the BIM model, or we have the bill of quantities tab. If you were working off a CAD drawing, you would start just from the bill of quantities tab. And I will show you where to measure from there. Now, if you are starting from a BIM model itself, you could start from here and it's going to be a lot easier. So you'll see the project has imported all of this different information from my project, from beams to columns to doors, etc. And you're able to visualize them in different ways. Okay, let me just go ahead and make the BIM model transparent. And you could see, for example, beams, or for example, in the part that says columns, the project is recognizing all of the columns. In total, there's 48 columns. And then you can also just, if you want, request for the size of one column, and in the part of quantity, it's automatically extracting the cross-section area, the surface area, gross volume, length. Now, there's many things that you can do for it to extract it in whichever way you want, okay? I can, for example, take into account if I have metal columns separate. I can take into account doors as just single units, but I can also have the measurement of each of the doors, whether it's an area, height, parameter, width, etc. Okay, and also other parts of the house, for example, the internal white lacquered paint, the surface of the terrace. It could be in sections or it could be in elements, okay? There's many different ways for you to take into account measurement. Or you could just click into any of these sections and you would be able to also check the measurement of it, okay? So you have the model for you to be able to extract the measurements, but you need to have a cost database. So how does this work? A cost database is quite simple. You could start from one that we have. We already have preloaded two English ones, some Spanish and some French, but it's very simple for you to copy and paste a new one and create a new one. For example, in this particular training that we did for UJ, okay, I just copy and pasted one of these cost databases, and now we're able to edit it. And just so that you see how our cost databases work, it's quite simple. First, we start under general parameters. You could then take into account any currency. We even have the South African rand included in there as well, okay? In addition, you can also adapt your decimals in any way that you need. Now you're able to create a cost database by adding work sections. You could create any work section. Like you see here, the codes that they've done is pretty much by letters, okay? And I could just pretty much say whatever I want for each of these files, and I can create a new file. You know, it's very, very simple. Like for example, here I created the U file, which will be next. This is the walkthrough file, okay? Example. Now let's take a look at some of the files. Once I create a file, now within each file, I could create a work section, okay? You see, when I click in here now, I could create here a work section. So from the foundation, I have a work section, which is foundation beams and ties, okay? And then within those foundations, I have to create certain work sections, okay, certain items, sorry. So the first item, for example, here that was created was the installation of the foundation formwork systems made out of metal sheets, reusable 200 times, including dismantling. And underneath those, we have a bunch of different items there as well, okay? So how is that created? Well, we have two things. We have resources. As you will see here, we have a list of a ton of different resources. So I create all these different resources in here, and I put each time you're going to be growing your resources list more and more. The resource list can be many things. It could just be labor. It could be material. You know, if it's, for example, labor, I could take into account certain things that you see here, for example, man hours, the rate, and it's an hour. Construction labor in concrete structures work. This here, telescope steel strut, it could be instead unit. I'm able to choose whether it's an unclassified materials, machinery, labor, or generated waste as well, okay? I'm able to take into account carbon emissions here in this software as well. So you see in the area that I have here, certified spacer for foundation, I know that this spacer is generating a waste, and that waste is taken into account here as well, okay? There's also a possibility, there's a lot of companies that already have, because we have different databases that you could work with that you would need to adapt it and customize, but a lot of the work is done. The idea is that you go developing your own database and each time you go growing it more and more, but also you have the possibility that you have already a database. Maybe you have a database that you've created in an Excel sheet. So it's fine. You can import that as well. You come in here and you would have to create, okay, we would have to come here and say, okay, let's create a new cost database that I'm going to do here, okay, and it's called whatever it is, for example. Now I would have to import a file. And it's pretty much, you name it whatever you want, and you have to let it know there's going to be different rows. You have your columns of your Excel sheet, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6. You need to name them column 1 code, column 2 type, column 3 unit, column 4 summary, column 5 quantity, column 6 rate. And with that, you're able to import a CSV file. A CSV file is very common to an Excel file. So if you have this, you have to map it no, I think it's Unicode. This one I have to get back on you. The character map, I don't remember exactly which one it is that you have to, but you can load an Excel sheet and then you would just automatically have all of that information imported for you. Okay, but if not, you can use one of our sheets. Okay, now the next thing that you have to take into account, in addition to a cost database, you need to take into account set of measurement rules. You have the different measurement rules that are put into place by the different by the Royal Institute of Quantity Surveyors and yada yada yada. There's a lot of different ones that exist. So if you're working with the BIM elements with BIM tools, it's a lot easier because a lot of these measurement rules, they tell you from what point to what point you need to measure in a model. Okay. In a BIM model, that's not necessary. Okay. So if you're working on a BIM model, you would enter measurement rules. If you're working with a 2CAD drawing, you would not need measurement rules because you're going to be manually measuring. So let's say in this case that you're working off a BIM model. Now, what the rules are for BIM models is different. Let's say, for example, I have all of these different elements, and I have pretty much the same elements in all of the different parts of the project. So, for example, in Windows, imagine that in my windows and doors in some countries, you have to include, when it comes to the doors, you have to include the lintel beam if you are the carpenter. In other places, like in the United States, the person doing the structures is the one doing the lintel beams. Okay, these are those beams that are prefabricated that go above doors and windows. So in that example, I would come here and tell the program, recognize the lintel beams as part of my door design, or recognize the lintel beams as part of my structural design. And these are the type of rules we're going to be able to have the program take into place. It's a sort of recipe of the cost database is this, the project is this, what are you going to apply from each database into each project? That's pretty much what you're telling it. It's a type of, you have the ingredients, and here you're telling the program what is the recipe. So when I mix the ingredients and the recipe with the right things, you see I have here the recipe for the single family detached house. So we would be able to use these continuously. I have a link with the cost database. Oh, I had the wrong one. So now I'm going to link it to the cost database of the single family detached house just as well. I press accept, okay? And now I have it linked. And now I go to the next tab, which is my BOQ tab. Now this is where I'm going to generate a bill of quantities, or this is where I would start working if I was working in a BIM mod, in a CAD drawing, okay? So imagine that right now, this is the project that I have. I always have a 3D model, even though it looks like if it's not, but this is a 3D model. And now I have the parameters that I have already preset, and I have already the measurements that have been calculated for each of the sections that have been imported directly. And you would be able to see that each of the sections has a little graph that can help us with a breakdown, including everything from CO2 emissions, the waste type, the waste volume, waste mass code. There's a lot of information how we're able to take a look at these breakdowns if the information is available. Okay. You can see one by one here. You could see each element, the separate elements, etc. Okay, now to generate a BOQ, we will go into the section that says Bill of Quantities Report. We're able to take into account many filters, references. We could have a list of the unit concept without the price, show the now I'm going to do here a detailed priced bill of quantities, okay? In the detailed price bill of quantities, notice we're at 33 pages, and we could go pretty much to any of the parts here. For example, let's take a look at the columns. You go to the columns and you see the column, the quantities of the columns, the cost, and the rate. And this is what 1 meter square is made out of, all of these items. And then all of the different items with the measurement of each column You could have height, width, length, but whichever way you want to do it, it's fine. You're able to export this in PDF, DOCX, etc., common files that I mentioned. You're also able to print it, okay? Now let's just see a quantities list, only the quantities list, okay? Obviously, it's a lot less. Now you see you have the columns that there's only quantities included in this, okay? You're able to, once that you finish with this whole, all this information, now I'm gonna go ahead and export this to BIM Server Center, okay? And then we would be able to go ahead and do another little model here, okay? So let's go ahead and update the quantities, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and export this information to BIM Server Center. Let's first update. We're gonna go ahead and select the same project. And now we'll be able to share also. We'll first have to link the project, and then afterwards, once that it's linked, we could update and send that information to the cloud, okay? Which for some reason today has, see, here we go. Okay, we have that house there loaded. And just give me 1 second, and we'll go ahead and share measurements, bill of quantities. So now we're generating that file and sharing it into the same file. There is a way also, there's different ways for you to, to reach what you want to do with this software, So I was having a bit of issues with this other file being loaded, okay? The one of the actual site. 3 minutes ago, I was able to load this other model, okay, which is the BOQ is now loading actually, okay. But I've had a little bit of issue to load the drawing, okay. So I'm going to show you IFC Uploader because this is a program that it's very simple. If you have anything that you need to load into a modeler that onto BIM Server Center that is coming from other software, okay, that you've created a common file such as an IFC file, but also PDF, GLTFs, etc. You're able to do that here. You see, I have here all of the projects available for me to link to here. And here in the Nelson Mandela University sample, I can go ahead and add content to load into this project directly from here. And I could call this here site image. It says contents have been added correctly. And you see up here on the top right, it says loading 50%, etc. So this should be getting shared properly, okay? All right, it is connected to it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and see if I'm able to see it in here, which I should be able to now. Let's see if you see, it says here 3 minutes ago, I loaded something, but now let me go ahead and update this file, and now it should tell me that, okay. Here we go. And We have the BOQ that has been fully loaded here. The detailed price bill of quantities. So you see, in this time that we've been here, we've been able to load a couple of samples. And then afterwards, just review that information here. Okay. Now, BIM Server Center, it allows you also to view your files in augmented and virtual reality, you know, and that's something that is very important for you to be able to go out to a job site and just pretty much get a project like the one that I'm going to show you here in just a second, and you're going to be able to visualize any of the parts of the project uh, on site. You see, like here, I have a project that they've already done the structure. So I've loaded this project into BIM Server Center of the outer skin with all of the safety features that I have planned for the project. And now I can go out to the job site with my cell phone or my iPad and visualize this previous to ordering anything and making sure that this is the correct design. With the MEP installations, also the same thing. You're able to go out there and you're able to visualize the whole design and you're able to see if it's going to work for you. If you're a structural or civil engineer or a project manager, this can be very useful at any stage because it's not only something that you're working on an existing structure, but it's also something that is starting from an existing structure. As you can see, the information, like the crane, it has all the information. It's a BIM, building information modeling, and it gives you the sizes of the perimeter of the fence. It gives you the information of the model of the equipment. Any information that you have entered into the project during the design stage will be available. You're even able to, once you locate where you're going to visualize this, you're able to walk inside, you're able to visualize the location of everything. And you're able to see the thicknesses, etc. And obviously, you're also able to check if you're going to be placing a pool or you're going to be able to, or you're placing any particular structural elements that might be exposed. Make sure that this is the right location, the right placement for whatever your local needs are, whether it's technical, seismic, or just your preference of how you want to locate the project. Okay. So, anyways, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to a few questions. I hope everybody understands what I said from the beginning of BIMS being a workflow, and you're seeing what I mean by this. Okay, I hope that you've been able to see a little bit what I mean by a BIM Server Center as a solution that is like the Power Rangers because it gives you many options. In just this little amount of time. Um, I've been working live, so sometimes the program or the computer that you need to use is not very powerful. I'm working on a laptop, and you're able to open many files at the same time. So there can be always some drawbacks. We've only been connected for a short time, and I'm working off of Wi-Fi, but it is a software that I think that it can give you a lot of very interesting solutions, not just for your for as a student. This is obviously a tool that you're going to be able to have in your toolbox to be able to access many customers around the world that are using this software, where you can go and tell them, hey, can I offer you this guy BIM engineering or whichever person this is? Can I offer you construction service? Can I offer you project management services? Or can I offer you project safety services for your design? Okay. But this is also a solution that you're going to be able to go and access the plans that you've shared on the cloud. And as you get more experience in how to do all this information, look at the quality of plans that this gentleman is generating. When we generate plans with this software, they're also smart plans, as in that they have smart tags. They're able to recognize information and automatically generate plans by themselves. Okay. The limit of what you can do in here is massive. Everything from For example, this is a billboard, a scaffold, just a sketch drawing. This, for example, is a copper mine, a plant, here. So there's all sorts of information that you can uh, generate and see from here, and it's actually useful things that are going to help you in the future as a professional. Okay. So I really think that it's something that would be interested for you guys to really review a little bit about BIM Server Center and see a little bit about these tools. Okay, well, actually about this workflow, my mistake. Now, regarding the tools that we offer you completely free, you will see that if you go under site.com, the tools that I showed you today, okay, you go into the area of architecture, and you will see you have here site architecture, you have OpenBIM Site, and you have BIM Bill of Quantities. These are the three tools. One of the great things is that we have a ton of learning resources for you. If you go into the section that says more information, you will be able to see here detailed information of this program, as in like step-by-step guides of how the work environment is, the sketch drawing, how to create jobs, how to link, how to import, how to turn on snap features. Pretty much everything is done. But what I preferably like, and I think it's most interesting, actually more interesting than other things, is our quick start guides. In our software, you'll see that most of them, we have a series of sequential videos called quick start guides. And these sequential videos, they start from the initial contact with the interface, downloading this, just basic stuff. This is not a very complicated solution. It's only 24 lessons in this software, and they're all about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. And then if there's more things that you need to know, if you need a deeper dive, you're also able to go into the tutorials, or you're also able to go into the user's manual. In the user's manuals, you press English and you would have not just how to install and download software, okay, how to install and download any of our software here available for you to use it, okay, but also you would have a 3D environment user's manual, as well as site architectures user's manual, that you could go through all of it, and you will see that this is a quite, simple and pretty understanding. Everything has an example with a walkthrough through the interface, etc. Okay. And that's pretty much the same with the other solutions, okay? When it comes to OpenBIM Site, and when it comes to OpenBIM Quantities, you have the same type of videos, the same type of trainings. And like I said, all of the solutions, you're able to use them completely free of charge. Now, Professor Joan can decide what are the steps. I think the best thing will be if, based on what your students have seen, they can say, okay, well, we want to do a deep dive of site architecture, or we want to do a deep dive of site and architecture, etc. And then we can coordinate it, and the next lessons we can do them based on that. What do you think?
That sounds good, because the ones that is really useful, because we're mainly dealing with construction managers here. So the ones that are really useful here will be the based on clash detection. That's also a big one. And then, of course, the scheduling of the work. Different
Well, the
methods of
great thing
scheduling.
is that we can use the clash detection, not a problem, okay? And then if you want to go deeper into project management, we can go deeper in it, because when we work in cost management, we can also, this cost estimator, this for me, it's not really, but once we do this open BIM quantities, this BOQ that we generate with the program I told you, we could go further with a program that we have called Archimedes and Job Control. And now here we're able to generate, we have many job control tools that we can work with based on that model on that BOQ that we've done. And we could do everything from the financial control, purchase control. We could also generate a Gantt chart, which I know is very useful for students as well, of the project. Okay, so we could go farther in this part as well, and even design the safety features of the project if needed also.
That's very useful. But what's the feeling of my class? What else would you guys like to hear? So we're going into the project management side, the costing side, the safety side. That's the important ones. What else do you want to add from your side? I assume that no comment is they agree with what we discussed here.
Yeah,
Sorry, my voice is not very good
no
today.
problem.
Right, because there's a lot of work to actually go through here and actually go and play around with these programs, familiarize yourselves with them, and actually get a feel for them.
And please feel free to reach out to us,
Mm.
because all the technical support and the help and the assistance and you guys using the software, everything is there
Yeah.
for you.
Any more questions from my students? No, they seem to be happy or totally
good.
overwhelmed. They might be happy
Yeah.
or totally overwhelmed. One of
Or
the two.
hungry, or hungry.
Or hungry.
So,
It's nearly lunchtime.
well, anyways.
Then I must say thank you very much. And
No, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And I will set up for us another one next week, Monday again.
Okay,
But
perfect.
I'll be in contact with you.
Perfect. So we, maybe some people are a little bit shy, and then, if anybody just wants to send them an email and let you know, and then you could tell me exactly what you prefer for next Monday. Okay.
But like I say, it's on the project management side, the costing side, cost
No
control,
problem.
programming, what you call
Perfect.
it, clash detection is always a big one for me on projects also. Thank you very much, Meneer. Go well. Enjoy your warm weather there.
Yes, you too.
We're getting away from winter here, but we had a warm winter.
You had a warm winter? Oof.
Warm winter, yeah. Not
Well.
very cold. But thank you very much. And I will communicate with you. So I'll mail you what Wednesday or so. I'll mail you. We can talk.
All right, perfect. Thank you, John. Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
Have a great
Thanks.
day.
Go well. You too. Go
Bye.
well. Thanks. Bye-bye.